Hi, how are you? Welcome to the Etiquette e Protocolo channel. I am Juliana Santiago, and in today's video, we're going to talk about mistakes you make when setting the table. I'm someone who loves setting tables. I'm always setting the table for my family for any kind of occasion, whether it's for everyday meals or even special occasions. I think the table is able to bring the family together, helping us create good habits and good practices at home. And certainly, all good things happen around a beautiful table. So, I put a lot of effort into creating beautiful decorated tables. This is a subject that really fascinates me. So, if you've been following my work for a while, you probably already know this because I love setting tables. Since 2013, I've been here on the internet, building connections and showing people online in general how to create a beautiful table, and how important this can be to truly strengthen your home and your relationships with the people you love. But there are some mistakes that some people make when setting the table. And if you love table setting, if you enjoy it, whether as a hobby or even if you've thought about making table setting your profession, or if you work in an area related to table setting, knowing some protocols and processes for setting the table and clarifying some points for you will certainly make all the difference in your understanding and your technical ability to analyze a table, whether it's right or wrong. So in today's video, I'm going to show you some mistakes that I've seen throughout my journey, especially as a teacher, right? I see a lot of people making these mistakes when setting the table. And in this video, we're going to talk about a few points. The first point is about the position of the napkin. Where should you place it? Many of my students mention this, and people have doubts about it. So we're going to talk about a few points in this video. Some people think the napkin can only be placed on top of the plate, or they think it can go anywhere. But no, the napkin can indeed be placed in the center of the plate, or on the left side. That depends on your preference. Usually when you have a table with many seats. If you're setting a very large table, it's best to place it in the center of the plate because that way you'll optimize the space a bit. But if you have enough space and sometimes your plate has a beautiful pattern, you can place it on the left side, okay? These are the two positions where the napkin can be placed, okay? Another thing that a lot of people get wrong is believing that a table setting can only be created with a cloth napkin. No, you can set the table using a paper napkin as well, and the position of the paper napkin will be the same as the cloth napkin. You can place it on the left side or right in the middle in the center of the plate. The important thing to note is that the paper napkin, because it's smaller, shouldn't be handled or folded too many times. In this case, I recommend a simpler fold, like folding it in half or making a triangle, something more practical. You can't do origami with your paper napkin. And an important point to highlight is that the napkin ring is exclusively for cloth napkins. It can't be used with paper napkins, okay? So it's good to keep that in mind. Another important point talking about the napkin ring is that some people believe this item is essential for setting the table. But that's not the case. It's an optional item. You don't necessarily need to set the table using a napkin ring, okay? In fact, many times on more sophisticated tables, we even make a simpler fold with the napkin, right? Not a very elaborate fold, but a simpler one, which can be like this, for example, or even like this too. Something more delicate. In this sense, it even ends up being more formal. But nowadays, because of the decorative aspect, people really like to decorate. The napkin ring has taken a special place in our hearts, but it's not a mandatory item, so don't be shy about setting your tables. If you don't have a napkin ring, no, you simply don't need to use it on your set table. Another mistake people make is how people use the glass. Many people believe that this glass here, which even looks like a wine glass, look, when I compare the two here, it's used to serve wine too, or it could be used to serve wine, but no, colored glasses, whether they're glass or even crystal, are used to serve water, okay? Or a non-alcoholic drink of your choice. Wine should always be served in glasses, preferably in clear crystal. You can even use glass goblets, yes, regular clear glass to serve the wine, but ideally it should be crystal. Another mistake too, which is actually a mistake for some people who are just starting out, but if you made it to this video, you want to learn and you don't want to do it wrong. When it comes to setting the table, it's putting the fork and knife on the same side. Ideally, the fork should be on the left side and the knife should be on the right side. And I'll even take it out here so you can observe the meal process. Here's a tip for you. This information is for you to know how to proceed. We start the process from the outside in. So here first I'm going to use these utensils, then this other one here. Probably at this table we'll have an appetizer, then the main course. I know you must be thinking, Juliana, I wanted to know more about table settings. I wanted to have more information about this. Well, I have a table setting course where I talk about everything on how to create a table setting from formal to informal tables. All the decorative processes, also decoration techniques, resources that I use and that I have learned throughout all these years of my journey working with table settings. It's the course, The Art of Table Setting. The link is here in the description of this video. I want you to check out the course information so you can join and become one of our students at the Institute of Etiquette and Protocol. Going back to putting the items in their original position, an important point about setting the table, which sometimes happens, is the issue of placing items that won't be used during that meal. It doesn't make any sense, and I believe you'll agree with me, to present and add items that won't be used that day. So always place items that make sense for that particular meal, because that way when the person arrives at the table, they'll have a clear idea of everything that's going to happen. As I already mentioned, here on this table we have the starter cutlery, the cutlery for the main course, a wine glass for the drink that will be served, and a glass for water. Here we can already get an idea of what will be served. If I placed other cutlery here, for example, fish cutlery or a white wine glass, and didn't serve that kind of menu or drink to the guest, it wouldn't make any sense. You're just adding extra items unnecessarily. So always set the table with the items that will be used according to the menu you have organized and prepared. And another point I want to highlight for when you're setting your table, and I don't want you to make this mistake, is overdoing the decoration. Many times we forget that the table is really the place for the meal. It's the place where we're going to enjoy ourselves, and many times the main star is the food, right? Of course, the table makes the food much tastier and the whole situation much more enjoyable. Who am I to question that? I think a beautiful table can make any dish taste much better. But really, the reason we gather around the table is to have that mealtime moment. So we can never forget that the table is a place for you to eat. So putting too much decoration and overdoing it can make this process very confusing and uncomfortable for the people who are going to experience that moment at the table with you. And if you like this video, enjoyed it, want more, maybe want to see a part 2 with other mistakes, who knows, be sure to give this video lots of love. If there are a lot of likes and comments, I'll come back here and make part 2 about table setting mistakes people make. Okay? Deal? So, if you like table settings and want to know more about this topic, I'll leave it here on the side. A table setting tutorial for beginners where I explain in a very simple way how you can set up your table. I'll see you in that video, and also as a student in our school. I'll stop here for now. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.